is that the insanity of the disease that you or the desperation of trying to give up? You try so many different things?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most painful part of addiction, to be honest. I mean, the rest of the
Mm,
pain can be washed away with drugs. But when you're
yeah.
trying to give up, you haven't got that solution. Like, if you're really trying really hard to give up, you don't have that solution at hand at right at that moment. Probably the most
Mm,
painful part, and that's why a lot of people do relapse, is because it's painful internally.
yes.
Because it goes against everything that your mind will tell you need to do. So it's a
Mm,
massive battle.
yep.
And it wasn't easy. I rephrase that. I always say, people say, oh, recovery is really, it's not easy. And I try and rephrase that because what I now understand, I didn't understand back then, is
Mm,
that the addiction lies in the way I think.
yes.
So if I convince myself that it's not easy or it's too hard, I'm going to use every day of the week. Recovery is too hard.
Yep.
But when someone says, oh, recovery's not easy, I say, well, how is you using?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, realistically, if you look at when you get through that bump period, I call it, which is about the first 3 to 6 months, it's called the bump. I call it's like hitting a road bump.
Yep.
Once you get through that, you realise recovery is pretty easy. The
Mm,
first 3 to 6 months, I call them challenging and confronting,
yes.
but it can be
Yeah.
done with help and
Yeah.
support. You can't do it. I've discovered you can't do it alone. I mean, I don't know about
Yeah.
and just for your listeners out there, this is my story. It may not be yours. I'm fully aware of that.
Yep.
But if you're resonating with it, then my story becomes your story, realistically.
Yeah, well, it gives hope, and it's really interesting. So you've tried all of these other ways that didn't work. What did work in the end?
Well, in my first detox, these people come out from this support group, from this 12-step fellowship. And
Yep.
back in those days, I'm going way back in time now. They used to take you straight away from these people do what they call a presentation. They take you straight off to a meeting straight after the presentation. So you got to see what they were talking about.
Yep.
Years later, public liability come into it and they don't do it anymore, which is sort of sad. So I went to my first meeting and it's sort of like, I remember going to the meeting, and I share this a lot when I do H&I myself now. And in this meeting, there's all these addicts around there, and they seem to be living fairly good lives, and they had good
Mm,
clothes, and they had jobs back. Not all of them, but there was laughter there, and that was really foreign policy to me. Like laughing, not on
yeah.
drugs, and laughing. Like I couldn't laugh at all.
Mm.
And they're saying they're off all drugs, including alcohol, like total abstinence program. And I'm thinking, nah, come on, you guys have found a super drug. You found a drug I don't know about. Because in my mind would tell me I can't have fun without drugs. I can't enjoy
Yeah.
life without drugs. Now, here's the first bit of insanity I uncovered. The insanity of that thought is when I put a drug in my system, I'm absolutely miserable.
Yes.
But my head would tell me I can't have fun and enjoy my life without it. And this is the insanity in
Mm.
my thinking. So I didn't believe these people at first. I thought, nah, you found a super drug. I actually believe they found some drug I don't know about. I really believe that. And then
Yeah.
they told me that addictions are, something wrong with my mind. I thought, you guys are crazy. Like I didn't believe there's anything wrong with my mind. I wasn't schizophrenic or this or, I
Mhm.
wouldn't say I was crazy or insane. I wasn't in an asylum. So how could I be insane?
So you understood it to be a disease of the mind as opposed to what, a character flaw or
No, no, not back then. I didn't.
yeah.
I had discovered that down the track, but I actually thought there was something wrong with me. And I think this is a problem that society and in general puts upon the addict without. And I tried to educate and one of my big things now is educate the general public to what addiction really is, not what they think it is.
Yes.
Because my dad, and I think every addict's had someone like this, and I do when I talk to other addicts in recovery, we all identify with this, that there's always someone, whether it be a mum, dad, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, whatever, someone who says, just stop.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you? Can't you see the damage you're doing to you? My dad used to say, can't you see what you're doing to the family? What's wrong with you? Now,
Mm.
I get that sort of thing now. I understand why they say that. But when that's directed at you and you're already feeling like a shit person because you can't stop anyhow, and you're doing things against your moral fiber, which you know you shouldn't be doing, but you can't help because addiction does that to you, it makes you feel 10 times worse. And
Oh.
what I understand now, addiction is an emotional response. The
Mm.
actual using is a solution to the problem, which is the emotional response in my body.
Yes.
So when someone's
Yeah.
bombarding me with all this negative stuff and I'm no good, I start to believe that. So I think
Yeah.
so when I was in addiction, I just thought I was a terrible person.
Yeah.
So if
Yep.
I think I'm like that, I'm going to behave like that.
Yeah.